All right, joining us right now to talk about the importance of Florida in next week's election is CBS 4's Jim DeFede. And Jim, we're almost there. Does Trump have any path to victory without winning the state of Florida at this point?
It's hard to envision one where Donald Trump could win a second term and lose the state of Florida. Look, I don't like to get into predictions, and I think Florida is going to be exceptionally close. But this is a must-win state for Donald Trump. If Joe Biden were to win Florida, however, that's pretty much the end of the night. It would be an early evening for the Trump campaign because it's hard to envision a scenario in which Donald Trump could still get to 270 electoral votes. The other thing to keep in mind about Florida is sort of the canary in the coal mine. We'll probably get results and an election call in this state earlier than some of the other battleground states. And these things tend to fall one after another. So if you see Donald Trump winning Florida, if you see Donald Trump winning Florida, it could mean good things for him in other parts of the country. But if you see Joe Biden winning here, it probably means he's also going to win in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and some of those other Midwestern states.
And Jim, a new Quinnipiac University poll found 11% of voters still undecided here in Florida. At this stage in the game, just days to go until the election, what will it take to make them make that choice?
So, I've been giving a lot of thought to the undecided voters. It's easy to sort of make fun of them and ask yourself, who is undecided at this point? Who could possibly still need more information between these two men? But I've been talking to a number of people, both Democrats and Republicans, and I have a theory, and it's just a theory, and we'll play with it over the next few days to sort of see if it pans out, but that the choice of these undecided voters really isn't between whether or not to vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. These are mostly, and this is a very small group compared to the undecided going late in 2016, these tend to be folks who voted for Donald Trump in 2016 but are having a hard time agreeing to it again. So it's not so much that they're deciding between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. They're trying to figure out if they can actually vote for Joe Biden or if they want to vote for a third-party candidate or a write-in candidate or leave it blank. A lot of these undecided voters, it could be more of a moral issue for them on certain very sensitive issues for them, such as abortion. They may like Donald Trump's stance when it comes to abortion, but they can't tolerate everything else. But they can't vote for Joe Biden either because of his views on it. So that's what they're struggling. It's more of an internal struggle than it is, well, I don't know who to vote for. These two guys are very similar. So it's more along that line. And I think that could be really fascinating. And we saw in 2016 that the undecideds broke heavily to Donald Trump in the final days of the campaign. That may not really happen here, and even if it does, they're such a small group, it may not make a difference in some states.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they just simply don't want to tell people who they're voting for, and they just want to keep it to themselves. But Jim, that's possible. Jim, thank you very much. Don't forget, if you want to vote in person early, the last day to do so in Miami-Dade and Broward is Sunday. You can go to any early voting site in your county. Then on Tuesday, Election Day, polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and you must vote at your assigned precinct on that day. If you have a mail-in ballot, it must be received or dropped off at election headquarters by 7 p.m. on Election Day in order for it to count.